In this video, we're going to be talking about strategy on Pinterest. So I'm going to talk about some Pinterest best practices. Number 1, pin at the right time. Save to your boards during peak times, generally in the evening and on the weekends in the United States. Consistent daily activity is better than a once-a-week flurry. So rather than pinning 70 pins all at one time in 1 week, maybe spread them out and do 10 to 12 pins per day. Number 2, link multiple pins to the same destination. So it's okay to have multiple pins that all lead to the same web page. In fact, it can be really beneficial to save a variety of images that might appeal to different types of pinners. Just make sure to add unique descriptions that are specific to each pin, and that will improve your search engine optimization as well. Number 3, don't shy away from volume. You won't get dinged for having a lot of pins. Just aim to keep your content well organized in relevant boards and save your ideas regularly rather than all at once. The more organized your pins are, the easier they'll be for people to find. Lean into trends. So people use Pinterest to plan their life well in advance of the season, the holiday, or an event they're planning for. So use this to your advantage and start saving pins that are relevant to upcoming trends, seasons, and holidays around 45 days early. Then continue adding more ideas daily and maintain a steady pace. Share your content. Get more eyes on your pins by sharing them with your audience through social, email, or other distribution channels. Driving people directly to your pins this way builds engagement and helps your pins gain momentum. Name your boards wisely. Here's 3 simple tips to keep in mind when naming your boards. First, make sure they're specific and relevant to your audience. Avoid adding extra spaces between letters, and don't forget to fill in the broad category. It helps people find you easier. Pin to multiple boards. It's okay to save all your pins to one general board, but you'll also want to add those pins to smaller, more specific boards. You can save the same pin to multiple boards without any penalty. Saving to a board like recipes could get you reach, while adding your pins to a more narrowly defined board like vegan recipes might get you a more engaged audience. Save the same pin to connect boards. One pin can live on multiple boards. Just save your pin to a board and then save it again to a few more boards. You can also save content from other people's boards to one of yours. This kind of board-to-board saving makes your content easier to discover. And boards accumulate these connections over time, so it's helpful to continue to use a single board with a longer history rather than to create several newer boards with shorter histories. Always include links. When people click a pin, they expect to be taken to a landing page so that they can learn more about your idea. That's why pins that lead to 404 pages or have broken links will be penalized. So always include links when you create a pin. Add the Save button to your website. We've already talked about that, but the Save button really is a must-have for your website. It increases saves up to 5 times by making it easier, faster, and more intuitive for people to save your content to Pinterest. And then finally, grow your following. Word of mouth works great on Pinterest too. So getting saves from people interested in your content distributes your content for you without you having to do all the hard work yourself. So let's look at a creative approach to Pinterest. Number 1, bring your best ideas. Pins should represent your actionable, inspiring ideas. So don't just go for quantity, go for quality of your pins. And then design for Pinterest first. People start looking for things on Pinterest well in advance of their planned activity, as I mentioned earlier. So you're going to want to plan about 45 days before an event might happen. That's probably earlier than you'd post to most other channels. So design your content for Pinterest first and then repurpose it for your other social channels. Use compelling images. Pinterest is a very visual platform, obviously, so using images that stand out and say something about what you have to offer will give you an edge. Here are 3 tips for images that will support your success. Number 1, lifestyle images are more effective and attention-grabbing than product shots. So, again, include people using your products in your photos. Number 2, high-resolution, high-quality images always look best. And number 3, steer clear of images that are too busy. Keep them simple and clean. Number 4, use a vertical aspect ratio. So pins are organized into columns. So vertical pins actually take up more space and tend to stand out more on the Pinterest platform. The ideal aspect ratio for a vertical pin is 2:3, so maybe 600 pixels wide by 900 pixels high. Consider adding copy to your image for clarity. So if your pin image doesn't really provide enough context on its own, try incorporating some copy into the image to help you land your message. You can add headers, subheads, annotations, or take a creative approach to how your type interacts with the image. Add tasteful branding. We talked about this before as well. Make sure that people are aware of your brand, but don't overdo it. So choose between a product shot or a logo, but maybe try not to use both on the same pin. And if you do use a logo, just keep it simple and subtle. Provide detailed descriptions. When someone taps a pin for a close-up, they also see your description. So a good description can make your idea even more compelling and actionable. If your objective is to drive clicks, then use the description copy to hint that there's more to see if they go to your website. A strong call to action like shop or make or find or buy will encourage people to take that next step. Next, optimize for search on Pinterest. So make sure your pins show up in relevant searches by having an image, a title, and a description that match the keywords that you're targeting. For example, if you're a food company that wants to post a recipe pin for the Thanksgiving season, make sure that you use words like Thanksgiving and recipe. Or if you're a financial services company that wants to reach someone who may be buying a new house soon, then maybe use words like home purchase and financial help. Use promoted video on Pinterest. Sight, sound, and motion can be the most compelling way to bring your ideas to life. But make sure that your videos are designed for mobile and are either square, like a 1:1 ratio, or portrait, 9:16, so a very vertical format again. Shorter length videos tend to work best when you want pinners to discover your idea, like if your goal is to build awareness of your product or service. But you might want to use longer videos if you want people to do something with your idea. So either way, make sure your message comes across even if the sound is off and they're just looking at the visuals. So here's some Pinterest pin sites from the pros. I've put the web links in here so you can see some of these influencers on Pinterest, and these are some of the things that they recommend. Number 1, they say to schedule pins to post frequently throughout the day. This is from Apartment Therapy. Apartment Therapy is all about gorgeous images, which makes them a perfect fit for Pinterest. And it drives many people to their website every day. So they found that scheduling their pins to publish frequently throughout the day helps them maintain the presence on Pinterest and ensure that even their newest content gets seen and shared. Also, they say Jillian Harris says, pin consistently and support other influencers through Pinterest. So Jillian is from HGTV Canada's Love It or List It Vancouver, and she pins to her site every week, and she pins every image to ensure that it gets seen and picked up by others. Not everyone has the same interest in photography that they have, but they find that it's really important to post really high quality visual photos. She still authentically pins from Pinterest and finds that supporting other key influencers through Pinterest also helps build a great team. So, pin things from other people and have them pin your stuff as well. Complement pin-worthy blog content with an interesting feed. So Deuce does this. Deuce is a mommy blog. And the writer gets tons of blog traffic from a pin linking to a post that she wrote about the birth story from her daughter, about her daughter in 2009. It was a reader that actually pinned the post, and she hasn't even promoted it that much, but it's gotten a lot of traffic just because of this viral dissemination of that story. Pin content from your site to a dedicated branded board. So Victoria Smith, who's a design and lifestyle blogger from LA, makes this point. She uses Pinterest in a variety of ways. It's actually the largest traffic driver to her website, and she uses it to pin images from blog posts to her blogs board, which has about 450,000 followers. She also uses a variety of private boards to curate ideas and images for future blog posts, ideas for a new site redesign that she's working on, and design projects that she's collaborating on with friends and colleagues. So she creates that dedicated brand board. Then keep your blog top of mind. So an Austin-based blogger named Camille recommends this from CamilleStyles.com. She said, from our recipes to interior design stories to entertaining, we're a leading or very image-driven site. So Pinterest is a great way for her to get discovered by new readers from all the images that they post. So they try to create images for the blog with that in mind. Vertically oriented photos, brilliant color, and that kind of thing always perform really well for them. Earl Einerson and Jan Halverson from PoppyTalk.com, which is a site about entertaining and decor, say that they recommend also, as we've talked about before, using long images, those vertical images. They said 700 pixels by 1400 pixels gets more attention. They said it's hard to do sometimes because sometimes the photo isn't, or the photo that they want to take isn't in a vertical format. But the more that they can do that, the more success they have. Longer images increase their repins and in turn get more visits to their site. Allie Hunt from The Muse, her site is about helping people navigate their career journey. She's all about partnerships. She says, build partnerships. When it comes to maximizing content on Pinterest, they recommend partnering with a brand that has a similar demographic, but offers a different angle on the content. Stay true to your style, according to Kara McLay from A Fashion Love Affair. She started using Pinterest organically, not really thinking about it as a work tool, but her Pinterest page really reflects her personal style and doesn't have any type of other agenda. She just wants to kind of be true to herself and her style on her Pinterest page. Kevin O'Gara from Now Swell, a designer and blogger, says, add your username to your Pinterest captions and pay attention to the analytics. And then Alexandra Grant from To Vogue or Bust, another style, beauty, and travel site, says, align your future strategy with your top performing content. So really look at your analytics and what content is performing best, and then create more of that and plan your strategy in that direction. Jillian Lansky from the August Diaries, another style blog, says, join group boards for extra exposure. So follow others and they will follow you, and you'll get increased exposure from that. In our next video, we'll talk about messaging best practices.